aesthetics, so it's
Right.
representations of the real,
Exactly.
very accurate.
Exactly.
And people the audiences tend to appreciate that, I think. But do you think the human factor, like you have brought for us to see, can ever be replaced in this form of art and its imperfections by these digital
well,
tools?
I'm happy for the success of Pixar and DreamWorks. And they've really revolutionized animation. But those films are for kids. And I don't want to make films for kids. Am I speaking too fast? You want me to go slower?
It's okay.
I don't have the money or the staff to compete with them. Plus, my ideas are more about my own life, my own jealousies or my passions or my eroticism. That's what I want to make films about. So I don't want to compete with Pixar and Disney. That's great that they're a success. I want to make films that reflect my own imagination. And I think that the audience wants to see something different. They don't want to see the same Pixar film over and over again. So I want to make films that reflect a more grown-up philosophy, grown-up life experience. And the films are not perfect, like you say. It's not photorealism. It's more stylized and more a lot of mistakes. And I like the mistakes. I think that makes it more interesting. A comparison I like to make is that a Disney film is more like a symphony orchestra, whereas my films are like a garage band, a punk band. Lots of mistakes and raw and not so beautiful, but yet it has an emotion. It has a story to tell. And I think the audience wants to see different kind of look.
Spontaneity is important.
Yes, thank you.
Even if you, just to complete the question, if you had you always stayed very, although you are very popular at this point worldwide with your.
Not so popular.
Well, at least from our point of view here in Portugal. I would say you are quite popular in the animation
Portugal
genre.
has been very supportive of my films, and I like Portugal. That's why I came here.
Yeah, and you always stayed very independent in your projects.
Yes.
But then, if you had a bigger budget, like an infinite budget, how different would your work be?
I get that question a lot, and I think I would make maybe hire people to do the in-betweens for the drawing, so it'd be a little bit smoother. I may get bigger names in the music to do the music. That's about it, really. I still like the stories that I tell. I want to make stories that are for grown-ups. And I like the look. I like the design of the characters. Tomorrow I'm showing a film called Revengeance. And that is a different look. I may have a card. Can you hold on 1 minute? Sharpie here. These are with pencil, and this is with this kind of pen, which is a thick black line. And it's very crude style. Very kind of art crumb. You know art crumb? It's that kind of look. And so that's a different look, and I think if I had lots of money, I would hire people to help with the animation. But now I do all the animation. I do all the storyboards, I do all the layouts, and all the backgrounds, and every drawing you see on the screen is done by me. So maybe I would like some help if I had more money.
Okay. I have here some questions about some of your experience, older ones.
Yes.
And the first question is, our for you the experiences of animating the opening sequence, the coach gag for the Simpsons episodes.
You know what? That's interesting you say that, because I don't know if it's in Portugal, but in the U.S. tonight, they show my new one. I did a brand new one for them, so I've done four couch gags.
A direct update from
Yeah, and they love my couch gags, so I'm happy for that, because it's seen by so many people around the world. I mean, more people that have seen all of my films put together have seen The Simpsons. But the story goes way back, because I'm from Portland, Oregon, which is just north of California, and so is Matt Groening. And we were friends when he was a cartoonist. In fact, his dad, I was friends with his father, Homer Groening was his name. And he was a very funny filmmaker. He didn't do cartoons, he did live action. And he was very funny. And so I knew Matt when he was a kid. You know, he was like 18 or something. So he invited me. I went to a festival in Annecy with Matt. And he said, why don't you do one of our films for The Simpsons? I said, yeah, I love that. Because the money's good and it's seen by a lot of people. And they loved it. And they said, do more, do more. So I've done 3 more since then. So it's very easy. They just say, do whatever you want and send it to us when you're finished. And they pay very good. It's good money. And
total freedom to create.
Total freedom, yeah. They're very nice. And this time they let me sign my name on that couch gag, which they don't usually do. I mean, people like Banksy and Siobhan Chomay and John Cristolucci have all done couch gags, but I don't think they sign their name.
So for you, even for the detail that you get to know the author and this author,
Yeah.
this is special for you. This
Oh yes,
work.
oh very special, yeah.
You have also an emotional connection to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But I'll be honest with you, I don't watch it a lot. I don't.
Okay.
I like The Simpsons. I think it's a great show, and it's a pioneering show. I like more film animations for films, for movies.
Yes.
That's what I prefer.
Okay. I also have here a few questions about the Prophet.
Good.
Having the chance to animate a sequence of the film The Prophet, did you feel inside the general message of the film and of the book that gave birth to it?
Yeah, like most people, maybe even you, when I was in college, I became aware of the book, The Prophet. And I read some passages. I didn't read the whole book, but I think I had a copy of it in my shelf, in my bookshelf. So I was certainly aware of his philosophy and his writings. And I do like a lot of his philosophy. I think it's very meaningful, especially in the U.S. It's good to have a more, what's the word, egalitarian philosophy of life. Not so much greedy, you know. It's good to be, to just enjoy the simple things of life.
Would you agree that it has also a message about hope?
Yes, yes.
That Mustafa could be alive.
Yeah. But you know, it's interesting, the whole story, and I may say this at the introduction. They contacted me very early, even before Selma Hayek was involved. I forget the guy's name. And I think it was 5 years before the film was actually finished. And I was one of the first artists they wanted to put in there. And they said something to me that I never heard before, and I'll probably never hear again in my lifetime. They said that they have lots of money to make this film, and they said we probably have too much money. And you never hear that in Hollywood.
Peculiar.
It's always like, no, we don't have no money, we have no money. Because they had a lot of people interested in the Middle East. They had lots of money for the Middle East. So then they asked me what chapter I wanted to do, and I said I want to do pleasure, because my films are very, you know, lots of naked people and wild eroticisms. And they said, no, you can't do that. We want you to do food and drink. I said, well, that's good too. I love to eat, I love to drink. So,
We're just the same.
yeah. So it was a very pleasant experience. I only met Selma when the film premiered at Cannes. She was there, and she was very friendly, very sweet lady, very nice. And then she took really good care of the artists. They put us in a nice hotel, and they had a big premiere party, and Paris Hilton was there, and Zoe Saldana, a lot of big-name Hollywood stars. And then I met her when it opened in New York. I went to the premiere in New York when she was there. She said, Bill, how are you? So she's a very sweet lady, very nice.
You loved the experience.
And she's very beautiful. She's very hot. I think she's like 45 or 46 or something. And she looks like 28.
You have already talked about it in your introduction here with us, but one of the questions I had prepared for you was what really comes as an inspiration for your work. You said that it's your own believings. You want to talk a bit more about it? What really inspires you?
Yes. I think humor. I'm always looking for something that's really funny, but surreal funny, bizarre funny. I want to do something that makes everybody laugh. And I live in New York City, so if you've been there, you know it's a very surreal city. It's very cartoon. Everybody is exaggerated and crazy hair and crazy costume. So that's a big inspiration for me is the city. But I must, I didn't bring this up with your question, but I think it's really important that America is very puritanical in terms of animation for adults. I tried to sell cheating to American distributors, and they all went, oh no, you can't do that. There was one distributor who was a good friend of mine, and I knew him for a long time, and I asked him if he wants to distribute the film. He said, well, Bill, there's nudity in your film. And I went, most of the Hollywood films have naked women and naked men in there, and they're very erotic. But for some reason in America, animation is not impossible to have adult ideas, and it's sort of a blinders, that you can't see anything wider. Now Europe, it's not a problem. I think Europe is very mature and they have more sophisticated,
more open-minded.
Open-minded, but I think it's the Disney Pixar attitude that animation is strictly a children's medium, and that's too bad. It's very sad.
It's a kind of a stereotype.
It's a stereotype. Thank you. I know a lot of people who work at Pixar, and they have passions and jealousies and divorces and adult lives that they have to live, but you cannot talk about it in films.
They live in fairy tales.
Yeah, they live in fairy tales. And it's too bad because they can't talk about what's really on their minds. Whereas as an independent, I can make whatever I want. And I like that. I like that freedom to make whatever kind of story I want. And I think that's an important part of being independent. You heard the story about Disney offering me a job? Did you hear that story?
No.
Oh, okay. Can I tell you?
Of course.
When I was young, maybe 15 or 16, I sent a bunch of drawings I did to Disney Studios, and hoping that they would say, oh, you're a brilliant guy, we want you to work for us. They sent me a nice letter back saying, your work shows promise, but you're too young, come back in 15, 20 years. So at least I knew they saw my work, and I was happy about that. But then when I got nominated for an Oscar back in 1987, for Your Face, this is when animation was starting to come back. You had Little Mermaid, Roger Rabbit, Beauty and the Beast were all huge successes, lots of money. And so Disney sent a lawyer to come to my studio in New York. Had a nice tie and briefcase and a real traditional lawyer. He sits down and he says, Walt Disney wants to offer you $1 million to come work for us. And I go, hey, that's so great. And people say when you negotiate with Disney, it's not so much good cop, bad cop, but bad cop, antichrist. And I think that's true because I said, yeah, I'd love to work for Disney for $1 million. Can I make my own little weird films on the weekend? They said, yeah, you can do that, but Disney will own those films. And I said, well, what if I tell someone a funny story, a joke? He said, well, Disney owns that. What if I have a dream? Well, that's Disney's. And, you know, that's the way Disney works, and that's fine because many people don't care about making crazy short films like I do. They want to just work for Disney, draw Mickey Mouse, they're happy. That's all they want. But I didn't want to do that. And so I said no. I said no to $1 million. And oftentimes I wonder if that was such a good idea. But you know, every morning I wake up and I go to my drawing board and I draw whatever I want. There's no rules, there's no restrictions. And to me that's worth more than $1 million. It's really the freedom. The freedom is so refreshing. It's so nice. And they never told me what they wanted me for until I heard someone later say that they wanted me for the genie in Aladdin. You know, the Aladdin movie with Robin Williams. They wanted me to draw the genie, which would have been fun. That would have been great, but they never told me.
Considering the contact with the public, how do you feel about it, and what can Portuguese public expect from the master class that will happen in a few days?
I'm really excited about it because I know Portugal has a big history in artists and art students. So I hope a lot of art students and animation students come because I want to talk about how I remain independent, how I make my films, the secret to making money doing independent films. I think that's a real important topic to talk about. I will talk about my history. I may tell the Disney story, I don't know.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I talk about how I made each film. I will make drawings to show them how I create characters, which I think is important to have a good design and a good drawing background. I think it's important that they learn how to draw really well. And I will show some of my brand new films, show some of the films that I just finished, and that'll be very exciting.
Okay, and now what can you show us or tell us a little bit about the Revengeance?
Well,
it's a work in progress.
We are
somewhere.
Yes. Okay. What happened was I go to the San Diego Comic-Con every year. That's in San Diego, obviously, and all the cartoonists and comic artists go there. And this one guy, Jim Lujan, Lujan, was there. He sort of came up to me. He was a fan. He liked my work. And he's a very funny guy, so we had fun together. We went out and had drinks and everything, and he handed me his DVDs. And I get a lot of DVDs. Everybody said, Bill, look at my film, look at my film. So I got a stack like this. So I never watched it. I never watched his films. And then about 2 years later, it was rainy New York, and I had finished my projects, and I was sort of wanted to relax, and I just pulled out one of his DVDs, and I looked at it. And I was just amazed how interesting the characters were. They were right out of my imagination. It was like they were like twins. And they were very funny characters, great design, great dialogue. He did all the voices. He does the voices. He did all the music. The only problem with his films were they were really badly animated. He doesn't know how to animate. You know, it's like, it's that kind of animation. So I called him up as soon as I saw it. I said, Jim, let's do something together. Use your storytelling, your characters of design, your voices, and your music, and make a film. And he went nuts because he was, you know, he couldn't make any money, he couldn't sell his films, for some reason they weren't very popular. And so he wrote me a script, and it was about 30 days at, no, three months after I talked to him. It was a wonderful script, brilliant, really, I didn't change a thing. And he gave me some character designs and I started animating. This is about 2 years ago. Now, usually it doesn't take me 2 years to animate a film, but I had a bunch of commercials and the other projects, the profits and things like that I had to do. So I just finished drawing yesterday, actually, last drawing. All finished. But now we have to color it, and we have to do the editing, and Jim has to finish the voices. It's almost done with the voices, and we're starting to put the pieces together. So what I'm going to show for Revengeance is, I think, 4 episodes from the film. I'm going to talk about the process that we worked on, because it's different for me. I usually write my own stories and do my own character design, but it was a real treat to do his stories. Now, his characters are different than mine. Hold on one second. This is one of the characters. This is Rod Rossi. And they're very, very big heads, very simple, almost, you know, childlike drawings. But they really have a lot of character. They have so much character. I left my glasses in the hotel. But you can see it's a lot different than my usual style. But I like that. It was a nice break from doing these realistic, not realistic, but super detailed, super shaded kind of things. Just to do a simple line drawing, it was really kind of a vacation. And they're very gross, they're very ugly. Everybody's ugly. Everybody's like that. Whereas my other films, everything is really beautiful and stylized and very clean. This is very, like I say, art crumb kind of stuff. So it was good. It was easy because I could draw the characters so fast. It was really very simple.
I wanted to ask you a question about what I talked about. Basically, what do you feel like is the future of 2D animation? Because basically, Pixar and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like works like yours are so complex in terms of animation. They, from frame to frame, they seem to metamorph into another character, another being. And I feel that that's going to be lost somewhere.
No, I disagree. Let me tell you why. I think because of the internet now, the audience for animation is expanding, and people are interested in seeing something different, something unique. And there's a lot of people out there now making their own films. You people are all young, but when I was a kid, the only animation that you could see was a Disney film. And every 3 years, you know, Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty or Dumbo or something would come out, and that was it. Now, everybody's making animation. I mean, thousands, almost millions of people are making their own animated films. And the reason they can do that is because of the internet. They can send it out and you can watch on the internet. So that the choices for the audience to see animation are so much more, so much more variety. And it's not just drawing animation, but puppet animation like Laika or Tim Burton, that kind of stuff is very popular. Or Nick Park, you know, Aardman. There's so many different kinds of animation that it's really a feast of choices. And there's too much to watch. I mean, I'm going to watch some of the programs here, and I'm excited to see what is coming around here in Europe with some of the new films. But I think it's a good thing that there are so many different styles and techniques, and like Regina Passau, is that how you pronounce her name? Regina?
Yeah. So.
She has a great style, a great, unique look, and she's very popular now. So it's really great that people are expressing themselves in animation through different techniques.
Don't you feel like maybe your style of animation is more adult?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Movie, it's a good sign.
It's a good sign. I saw Anomalisa and I wasn't impressed. I thought it was a very slow moving, and I mean, it could have been done in live action. It was just people talking. But I'm so happy that people took him seriously, and he got all these awards. I think a lot of it was because the guy's name is Charlie Kaufman, and people said, "Oh, it's a Charlie Kaufman film. You know, we gotta get a good distribution." But I was jealous. Quite frankly, I was jealous that he got so much great press and so much got Oscar nomination and all that. But I believe my films are better than his.
We once read about what you call the Plympton's dogma,
Yeah.
about making movies,
Yeah.
which is cheap, funny, and short.
Very good. Yeah, I'll talk
So,
about that on,
yes,
tomorrow.
I was wondering if you could just elaborate a little bit for us about that.
Well, it sounds like you know all about it. There's a film I did called Your Face, which was nominated for an Oscar. And that really synthesized my philosophy, my dogma. The film was done in about a month. It was 3 minutes long, so it's very short. It was very cheap. I did all the drawings myself, and I did the music, and I colored it. I didn't shoot it. I wasn't the cameraman. And it was a funny film. People laughed at it. And that film was a huge success. It was bought by MTV. It was shown all over the world. It was nominated for an Oscar. And so I realized that if I wanted to continue to run a studio as an independent, I should continue making films that are funny and cheap and short. Now, a lot of my friends they disagree with me, with my philosophy, and especially people in Canada. I remember one year, 2005, I think, this film from Chris Landreth called Ryan, I don't know if you ever saw it, was nominated for an Oscar, and I was nominated for Guard Dog. So we had two films that were in competition. And he broke every one of my rules. The film was 18 minutes long. It was very expensive. It was all Maya computer. I had to hire a lot of people to do the animation. It probably cost $1 million. And it wasn't funny. It was about this drug-addicted animation guy from Canada who was abusive, very abusive. But he won the Oscar. And you know what? He deserved to win the Oscar. It's a much better film than Guard Dog. It's just a brilliant piece of animation, brilliant storytelling, brilliant execution. But the film will always lose money. And that's okay, because it's the Canadian Film Board. They don't care. They don't care about the money.
Yeah.
They want the Oscar. But I don't care. I need I'd like to get an Oscar, but I really need to make money so I can continue my studio. And I'm not government funded. I'm not corporation funded. I'm not Hollywood studios don't give me money. It's all independent. And that's why I need my films to make a profit. And that's why I make the films.
And at least Disney doesn't hold you.
No. You know, I would still like to work for Disney if they came to me and, like you said, with a lot of money. I would be interested.
At this stage.
At this stage, because I'm jealous. They get such great publicity and posters everywhere and ads on TV, and I don't have that. But I can't do that, I don't have the money. So I'm jealous. Or, suitcases, and it goes very bad. It's very disastrous.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Called Cop Dog.
How about your Adolf Hitler project?
Ah!
Is that still
You
going
heard
on?
about it?
Yes.
Yeah, we're having the premiere in a cinema in New York on June 1st. And we've got to do a little bit more work on the music because some of it is by Disney.